Hi friends, welcome back to 5 Minute Modern, where in 5 minutes or less we learn about an important artist, artwork, or concept in the history of modern art. My name is Cindy, and today we're talking about arguably one of the most unique architects of the 20th century, John Lautner. You may not know the name John Lautner, but you've undoubtedly seen some of his buildings in movies. And his boldly unorthodox and deeply modernist buildings made the perfect dramatic setting for movies. Such films as Diamonds Are Forever, Body Double, Lethal Weapon 2, and The Big Lebowski all featured buildings designed by Lautner. Lautner also started an entire architectural style with his design for Googy's coffee house on the Sunset Strip in 1949. The upswept lines of the roof, steel and glass construction, and evocation of motion would inspire the Googy style, named after the business that owned Lautner's building. Googy design would come to be the defining style of the 1950s and early 60s, reflecting a rise in car culture and space-age optimism. And while Lautner's work may have sparked this futuristic architectural aesthetic, I actually think that has little to do with what makes his work so unique and so interesting. Let's take a deeper look at Lautner's beginnings. He was born in Michigan in 1911 and had fond memories of exploring the state's many forests. From 1933 to 1938, Lautner studied architecture as a member of the Taliesin Fellowship in Arizona, studying under Frank Lloyd Wright, a true icon of American architecture. While studying at Taliesin, Lautner learned the basics of construction, giving him a practical skill set and an important understanding of the limits and possibilities in architecture. But perhaps more importantly, Lautner would be influenced by Wright's idea of organic architecture. That is, the idea that buildings should be well integrated into their natural surroundings and well suited to the needs of human beings. And to my mind, Lautner would actually push these ideas beyond what Wright did. Consider one of his most famous buildings, the Chemosphere in the Hollywood Hills. It has often been suggested that the home looks like a flying saucer, but actually, Lautner conceived of the idea for the home's design because resting on a single pillar allowed him to avoid disturbing the sloping landscape of the hills. While most architects would have tried to flatten out the slope to make a large base for a house, Lautner instead found an innovative way to make a smaller base so that he could preserve the natural setting. Likewise, though Googy's coffee shop's distinctive roof may seem its key element at first blush, the large windows were actually a more important draw for the business, as they allowed for expansive views of those same Hollywood hills. Expansive windows, often covering entire sides of the building, are one of the elements we see again and again in Lautner's designs. And I think those are so important, as they make the homes feel open, woven into nature. Lautner noted that, evolutionarily speaking, humans were still cave dwellers, and we needed that sense of connection with our natural world. He was very focused on making his designs work for people, and felt that a level of openness would prevent them from feeling trapped in their own home. The Arango Marbrisa house is my favorite of his buildings, because it feels so well integrated into the mountain, ocean, and even the sky that make up its surroundings. If not for the perfection of its lines, I might swear it was a natural rock formation. The unprecedented and visionary nature of Lautner's designs meant that many of his buildings violated existing housing and construction codes. Navigating through those codes and obtaining waivers took such time and resources that as a result, most of Lautner's buildings were private homes for more affluent clients. In later years, Lautner actually preferred working with clients who had the time, resources, and disposition required to help argue for his bold vision. And though there are less expensive constructions in Lautner's body of work, there are very few public buildings. Lautner passed away in 1994, and he never had the opportunity to design a museum, a school, or any sort of municipal building. And I think that's a real shame. Given how sensitive his work is to the needs of human beings and the environment we live in, it would have been amazing to see how he could have created a space for the broad public. But as it is, we can certainly be glad that we have his existing buildings, and perhaps more importantly, that we have his principles, working with nature instead of against it, and always considering the needs of people. Thanks so much for joining me in this one. I hope you enjoyed learning about this architect. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.